Is Israel wanting to push the two-state solution totally off the table, or are there hopes that there can be resumption of talks at least?
Well, there are no meaningful peace negotiations, certainly none in public at the present time. I don't know if it's just Israel. I'm also not sure if the government of the Palestinian Authority of Mahmoud Abbas is particularly keen on negotiations at this point. Abbas is, I think, 86 or 87. His health hasn't been particularly good recently. We may also have to wait for another Palestinian leader. But what I'd say vis-a-vis Netanyahu in particular as a right-wing politician is whatever he says, if we look at the track record, both in Israel but in other countries like the United States or Britain, often right-wing leaders have actually carried out the peaceful policies that the left has advocated. So you have, for example, Nixon in China from the United States, Reagan with the Soviet leader Gorbachev, you have General de Gaulle in Algeria. And in Israel, you had the first ever right-wing Likud prime minister of Israel, which was Menachem Begin in the 1970s, making a peace agreement with Anwar Sadat, the Egyptian president, after Egypt and Israel had fought the 1973 war, known in Israel as the Yom Kippur War, and in Egypt as the October War in 1973. After that, everyone's surprised, Begin, who was very, very hardline, won a Nobel Peace Prize with Sadat for making a peace with Egypt, which, while not perfect, has lasted until now. And Ariel Sharon, another conservative Likud former prime minister, he withdrew Israeli settlers and soldiers from Gaza, something that no one thought he would do. And also Netanyahu, when he was previously prime minister, made 4 peace agreements with the United Arab Emirates, with Bahrain, with Morocco, and with Sudan. And certainly the first 3 of those have proved to be very good peace agreements. Now, the Palestinian issue is much more complicated, much harder to resolve. I'm not predicting it's going to be resolved, unfortunately, anytime soon. I'm only saying that I'm not sure that a right-wing Israeli prime minister is necessarily less likely to oversee a peace agreement than a more left-wing or peace-speaking prime minister. Often, somebody who's a hard nationalist can make the necessary compromises necessary, I'm talking about from the Israeli side, to actually make peace with the Palestinians, because both sides will have to make compromises. Certainly Israel will have to withdraw from territory in the West Bank. And it might be easier for an Israeli nationalist prime minister like Netanyahu to carry the Israeli population with him than somebody who they suspect, who a lot of Israelis will be suspicious of, who's too much on the left, who's too kind of a bit apologetic for Israeli policies.